Happy New Year. If you're watching this on January 1st, welcome to the future. I wanted to start off this year a bit differently and sharing with you what I learned holding Bitcoin in 2025, because we all know this hasn't really been a super exciting year for Bitcoin. First of all, before I dive in, I really want to thank everyone who watched and listened this year. YouTube subscribers doubled. Podcast downloads went up over 90%. Spotify followers went up over 200%. So I'm very happy that people are following along at this attempt to tell more people about Bitcoin. So I'm super grateful, and I hope you stick along for the ride next year. But I mean, those are just numbers, right? And what actually mattered to me is all these messages that I got throughout the year. I'm trying to meme something into existence. Every time I get a message, I put it on X and I say, don't stop talking about Bitcoin, because that is what I think is so special, man. Like when you create something on the internet, you don't really know how far it's going to travel. Like you don't know who you can touch by talking about a certain subject, how you talk about that subject, right? And so for me, that's been amazing to see. And what I want to share before I really dive in is that you can do this too. Like if you're into Bitcoin, if you're into exposing the problem of fiat money, please start your podcast, write a book, write an article, make a website, create a meetup, a local community, whatever. Like you have no clue who you can reach once you start putting your energy towards this. And so let's talk about 2025. I mean, a lot of people had expectations, right? This is the fourth year of the 4-year cycle. This is the year we're going to hit like 200K, 1.0 M, as Samson Mao would say. You know, institutions are coming, all these things. And I mean, some of that happened, some of that didn't happen, and some of that is still playing out. But here's one thing that I really learned. I think the price is the least interesting thing about Bitcoin, because the reality is you have a real problem. Everyone who's using fiat money has a real problem. Right now, today, listening or watching to this, fiat money debasement is mathematically assured. So what do you do about this? Like, what does this look like? You know, when governments spend more than they collect in taxes, they borrow. When they can't service the debt through productive activity, they print. And when they print, your purchasing power declines. It's just math that when you introduce more units of a money, you devalue all existing units of money. And if the productivity doesn't keep up, prices go up. So this is the problem we have today. And it's mathematically assured that this is the path that it's going to follow. And it's accelerating. So the people that are in charge need to create more money to service old debt and to pay for the promises they made when you elected them. I call it the battle for money. There's a battle for money happening right now, and you are the subject. You're not a participant, you're a subject. If your money is in the bank, do you really own it? It can be frozen, it can be surveilled, it can be programmed to expire with a CBDC. If we go deeper, if you don't own your money, do you actually own your time and energy? Because your money represents your finite time and energy, the finite energy you can expend in the finite time you have in your life, which is your productivity, right? So every money unit, whether it's a dollar, euro, yen, a pound that you have, is basically hours of your life converted in an abstracted form into a certain amount of numbers. It's represented in a nominal way. So if other people can control your money, they can control your time. And if they can control your time, do you really have freedom? I think this is why Bitcoin exists. When I got into Bitcoin in 2013, I kind of got it, but I didn't. Bitcoin is not to make people rich. It's not to stick it to the banks. It's not a speculation vehicle. Bitcoin exists because the current financial system, our current monetary system, is fundamentally flawed. There are other people that can create money that you trade your finite time and energy for by doing nothing. So what does Bitcoin actually give you, right? It gives you ownership, real ownership. Not ownership according to the terms and conditions or your legal contract, not ownership until we decide otherwise, not ownership as long as you comply. It's mathematical ownership. So when you hold your own keys, no one can freeze it, seize it, or inflate it away. No one can tell you what you can or can't buy with it. In all of human history, there has never been an asset with these properties. There's one asset in general in the world of which the supply, new supply, cannot go up if the demand goes up, and that's Bitcoin. What I learned in 2025 is that the reason for Bitcoin's existence is more important today than ever. It's not less important because the price didn't hit your target. It's more important because the conditions that created Bitcoin are intensifying. The surveillance is increasing, the control is tightening, and the debasement is accelerating. And so Bitcoin isn't less relevant, it's more relevant than a year ago. You have a secret second job when you come back home from your job or your venture, and that is mitigating the monetary debasement of the reward that you earn today. So here's what I believe. For millennials specifically, I think Bitcoin is the answer. We grew up digital. We understand networks. We know how to verify information. We're skeptical of institutions, and we're primed to understand Bitcoin, guys. This is our opportunity for our future. Like the boomers had real estate and Gen X had index funds. Bitcoin is the thing for us. Think about it. If you're mid-30s, in your mid-30s, right, and you still have to work for like 30 more years, and you know that, for example, the euro lost about 60% of its value over the last 25 years, how are you even going to determine the amount of money units you need to retire, whatever that means, in 30 years? I don't think it matters how much Bitcoin you have. The more Bitcoin you can have is obviously the better. But the amount is not the point. The point is that you make a conscious decision to own your money, to not be a subject anymore within the financial aspect of your life. So what happens when you choose a better money? My conclusion is you open your mind. So when you're not constantly worried about preserving your purchasing power or thinking if you can save or not, when you're not stuck on the hamster wheel, again, it's not about how much Bitcoin you have or how rich you are. When you know that you're not playing a rigged game, at least mentally, you can think. You can really think. You can really think about what you want, about what matters, about what you're building with and in your life. Whether that's yourself, your craft, your culture, your family, the place you live, whatever. When you choose a better savings technology, you escape the rat race. Again, at least mentally, maybe you have to play the fiat game in order to really get out, but that's okay. It's about making the conscious choice here. So everyone else is running around faster and faster to basically just stay in place, and you step off the treadmill, right? So other people are running the rat race, and you decide to walk, not run, your own path. So you can focus on your life, your family, your health, your creativity, your contribution to your community or society or country or whatever you want to contribute to. And so this mental energy that was being consumed by this financial anxiety, this high time preference, focusing on the short term, that gets freed up. And I think that is what actually matters. If you found Bitcoin, I just want this to be a message of encouragement, of hope. I want you to know that you're not alone and that there are millions of people around the world who see what you see, who understand what you understand, and who are making the same choice. When I look at next year, when I look at 2026, I'm not going to give any price predictions. I'm not a price guy. I don't know what's going to happen this year, but I know this. The conditions that make Bitcoin necessary are not going away. They're here. The debt is not going down in the US, in Europe. Global debt is not coming down. The money printing is not going to stop. The surveillance is not decreasing. And the control is not loosening. So your job in 2026 is to keep learning, keep stacking, keep talking about Bitcoin, and keep on building. So you have to opt out. And you're not alone. And in history, there have been many, 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 many examples of people that did the exact same thing. But remember that Bitcoin is not 100% certain. Nothing is, and that is life. And I believe that Bitcoin is the right path to secure your financial future, to secure your financial life, to turn yourself from a forced consumer into a voluntary builder. And I think that's the only thing you can do. That's the only thing I can do for myself, for my family, and for our generation. And so I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for thinking. Now let's make this year count. Happy New Year. Thanks for watching. And I hope it's going to be amazing. Thank you.